Gas is above $4 a gallon. Tomato prices have doubled. Inflation just skyrocketed to 3.5%, and economists are warning the worst is still ahead. Most Americans are looking at these numbers as separate problems. A gas problem, a grocery problem, an inflation problem. They're not separate. They never were. 8 weeks ago, a conflict started on the other side of the world, and the ripple effects are now sitting in your driveway, in your refrigerator, and in your bank account. The connection between a war in Iran and the price of eggs in Ohio isn't complicated, but it is invisible to most people because nobody is drawing the line between what's happening over there and what's disappearing from your wallet over here. That's what this video is about. 5 signs the Iran war is already inside your daily life, and what to do before the next wave arrives. Here's the thing about modern economic systems. They don't break all at once. They fray, slowly, quietly, in places most people aren't looking. The Strait of Hormuz is a waterway 33 kilometers wide. 20% of the world's oil passes through it every single day. When that waterway becomes a pressure point, when the nations controlling access to it are in active conflict with the United States, the entire global supply chain feels it, not immediately, not dramatically, but steadily in ways that compound over months. We are now 8 weeks into that reality, and what economists are telling us, what the Dallas Federal Reserve's own scenario analysis confirms, is that the inflationary impact of this war is not a spike. It's a sustained elevation. Prices go up, and they may not come back down. That's not a headline. That's a systems problem. And systems problems don't announce themselves. They show up as $5 more at the pump, as a grocery receipt that doesn't make sense, as a budget that used to work and suddenly doesn't. Here are the 5 signs it's already happening to you. Sign 1, your gas costs more, and everything else will follow. Most people see the gas price and think about their commute. That's the wrong frame. Gas above $4 a gallon is not a transportation problem. It's a logistics problem. And logistics is the invisible backbone of everything you consume. Every product on every shelf in every store in America arrived on a truck. That truck runs on diesel. When diesel prices rise, the cost of moving goods rises with it. And that cost doesn't disappear. It transfers directly to the price tag on your groceries, your hardware, your medication, your clothing. The Iran war drove oil prices sharply higher within weeks of the conflict starting. The Strait of Hormuz pressure created immediate uncertainty in global oil markets, and uncertainty in oil markets is always inflationary. Here's what most people miss. The gas price you see today reflects oil prices from weeks ago. The contracts being signed right now, the ones that will determine what you pay at the pump in July and August, are being written in a market that is still deeply uncertain. Tell me in the comments what you're paying for gas today. What to do this week. Top off your propane tanks. Store fuel within your legal limits. Lock in your energy costs now, before summer pricing hits. Every dollar you spend on fuel today is a dollar saved at a higher price tomorrow. The pump doesn't lie. It just tells you the truth a few months late. Sign 2. Your grocery bill is quietly restructuring your budget. Tomato prices have doubled. Beef prices are climbing. The USDA is projecting food inflation to persist well into 2026. And the Iran war is accelerating a trend that was already in motion. Here's the connection most people aren't making. Fertilizer. Modern industrial agriculture runs on nitrogen-based fertilizers. Nitrogen fertilizers are produced using natural gas. Natural gas prices are directly linked to oil prices. When oil spikes, as it has since the Iran conflict began, fertilizer production costs spike with it. American farmers are absorbing those costs right now, in real time, as they plant this year's crops. The harvest from those crops arrives in fall 2026. The price of that harvest will reflect every dollar of elevated fertilizer cost, every gallon of expensive diesel used to plant and harvest it, every mile of expensive trucking used to move it. What you're paying at the grocery store today is the pre-harvest price. The post-harvest price arriving this winter will be higher. What to do this week? Build a 60-day pantry using the caloric density principle. Focus on rice, beans, oats, canned proteins, and cooking oils. These are the items that will see the sharpest price increases and the longest shelf lives. Buy them at today's prices. Store them for tomorrow's reality. The grocery store is not a reliable indicator of what food actually costs. It's a lagging indicator. And right now, it's running about 6 months behind. Comment below if you have seen a sharp increase in your grocery bill. Sign 3. Inflation is no longer just a number. It's a trap. U.S. inflation just hit 3.5%. That number sounds manageable. It isn't. Here's why. The Federal Reserve has one primary tool for fighting inflation: raising interest rates. But raising interest rates in an economy already stressed by a war, a tariff conflict, and slowing growth doesn't just cool inflation. It risks triggering a recession. So the Fed is trapped. Hold rates and let inflation run. Raise rates and risk economic contraction. Either path has consequences for ordinary Americans. What this means practically is that the purchasing power of your dollar is eroding, and the mechanisms that normally correct that erosion are constrained. Your paycheck buys less. Your savings earn less in real terms. And the cost of borrowing for a car, a home, a business stays elevated. This is not a temporary adjustment. Economists at CBS News and the Dallas Fed are both using the word linger to describe the economic damage from this conflict. Linger means months, possibly years. What to do this week? Audit your monthly fixed costs. Identify every subscription, service, or recurring expense that is not essential to your family's security. Cut it now. Redirect that money into tangible assets: food storage, energy independence, skills. In an inflationary environment, cash sitting still is cash losing value. Inflation is not a tax on spending, it's a tax on waiting. Sign 4. The supply chain is fraying. In places you can't see yet, the shelves still look full. That's exactly the problem. Supply chain failures don't announce themselves at the retail level. They begin upstream, in shipping contracts, in port delays, in trucking route reductions, months before the gap appears on your grocery shelf. By the time you see an empty space where a product used to be, the window to prepare has already closed. Right now, the Iran conflict is creating shipping uncertainty across global routes. Longer lead times mean products ordered today arrive later than expected. Diesel prices mean trucking companies are quietly reducing less profitable routes. And rural and suburban American communities are always the first to feel that reduction. The U.S. grocery distribution system operates on a just-in-time model. Most distribution centers hold 3 to 5 days of supply. There is no national food buffer. There is no strategic grocery reserve. When a disruption hits, a port slowdown, a trucking shortage, a regional weather event compounded by already stressed logistics, the gap appears fast and spreads faster. What to do this week? Map your personal supply chain. Where does your food actually come from? Which products in your home travel the longest distance to reach you? Those are your highest risk items. Prioritize building depth in those categories first. The supply chain is not broken, it's brittle, and brittle things don't bend, they snap. Sign 5, the second price. Wave is still coming, and most Americans don't know it. This is the sign that matters most, and the one almost nobody is talking about. Every major economic disruption has 2 waves. The first wave is the one you feel immediately. Gas prices, grocery receipts, inflation headlines. That wave is already here. Most Americans are aware of it, even if they don't fully understand its source. The second wave is different. It's slower, it's quieter, and it's more damaging because it arrives just as people have started to adapt to the first wave and let their guard down. The second wave from the Iran conflict will arrive in late 2026 and into 2027. It will look like this: harvest shortfalls from elevated fertilizer costs hitting grocery prices again harder, dollar purchasing power continuing to erode as government debt expands to fund both defense spending and economic stabilization. Community support systems, already underfunded, strained further as tax revenues fall and demand for assistance rises. The window between the first wave and the second wave is a preparation window. It is open right now. It will not stay open indefinitely. What to do this week? Build your 90-day prep plan around the second wave, not the first. The first wave is already priced in. The second wave is not. Focus on food depth, energy independence, financial liquidity, and community connections. The 4 pillars that determine whether a family weathers a prolonged disruption or is consumed by it. The first wave wakes people up. The second wave is what separates those who prepared from those who waited. Let's bring this together. 5 signs, 1 source, 1 window. The Iran war is not a distant event. It is an active variable inside your household budget, in your gas costs, your grocery bill, your purchasing power, your supply chain, and the second wave that is still forming on the horizon. The response to all 5 of these signs is the same. Reduce your dependency on systems you cannot control and build depth in the systems you can. That means a 60-day pantry built on caloric density. It means fuel stored and energy costs locked in. It means a monthly budget stripped of non-essentials and redirected toward tangible security. It means a personal supply chain map that tells you exactly where your vulnerabilities are. And it means a 90-day plan built not for the crisis you can already see, but for the one that's still forming. Preparation is not about fear. It has never been about fear. It is about the quiet, deliberate decision to be capable when the systems most people depend on prove that they cannot be depended on. That decision gets harder to make the longer you wait. 8 weeks ago, most Americans had never thought about the Strait of Hormuz. Today, they're paying for it at the pump and at the register. Without knowing why, now you know why. And knowing why is only useful if it changes what you do next. Not out of panic, not out of fear, but out of the calm, clear-eyed recognition that the window to prepare quietly before the second wave arrives is smaller than it was 8 weeks ago. Start this week, not next month. Not when it feels more urgent, this week. If this video opened your eyes to something you hadn't connected before, the next video to watch is linked on your screen right now. It covers the one mistake most preppers make in exactly this kind of environment. And it's the mistake that will cost you the most if you don't catch it first. Stay sharp. Stay ready. This is Shane, and these are my field notes.